Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
Masculinity has been coined as like a negative term these days. It's very odd, but it makes sense because the world's very much shifting towards a female-led structure.
Age of Aquarius, baby. It's been
and it's like it's interesting to see how there's a subtle breakdown of all those elements. It started out as toxic masculinity, which you mentioned earlier, and and it's like, oh, that's toxic to be like manly, and it's like, well, what defines that? And you're like, well, holding a door for ladies, like.
I've been yelled at on a date for it.
Yeah. And I'm taken aback. I'm like, what? Like, that's just respect. Like, that's not. Anyway, right. I'm getting a little derailed here, but
it's protection.
Right. And those are the basic roles of of a man and a woman. And, there is those roles there. Like, and I know that that's a controversial statement to say today, but they do matter. They're relevant, and I know I'm amongst friends here, so I can say
absolutely.
Something like that and then get canceled on Twitter sometime years down the road. But, it's...
Dude, I already got zapped on Instagram. You're fine. There's nothing you can say that I haven't already stepped in. You're all right.
Well, there you go. But so, the modern Christian male, one interesting thing about it is that you're the front, you're the face, you are the representation of not only yourself, but your wife, your family, the people that you go out and reach to, and that God reaches out to through you to. You're responsible for those people, and it comes down to a heavy sense of responsibility and being able to bear the burden. They say that men were given broad shoulders to carry the weight of what they have to have. Right? I'm sure you've heard that saying. And so.
And God knows just how big your shoulders are.
Right, exactly. And so, but interestingly enough, I do see where people will come in and be like, oh, well, there's this toxic thing. And well, anything can be turned evil if you let it be. Yeah. It's not like it's unique to this thing. And so there's a certain sensitivity, I believe, that masculinity has as well. And that sensitivity is love. And it's very interesting because, you look at Jesus loved like the more than anybody that there was. But if you examine his character, it wasn't like how modern Hollywood loves to portray him, where he's just like smiling and he's real. I hope this isn't sacrilegious, but they present him like real dainty and real fluffy. And he's got this long, like conditioned hair. And the actors are, like,
very, very feminine and non-threatening. Is
exactly
how they like to present it.
Pantene Pro V Jesus.
Exactly. So that's how Hollywood portrays it. But if you read the scriptures and when you read the conversations you would have with people, he was like, bam, like hammers over the heads. I mean, he called a Gentile woman like a dog, like he basically. And like if you were to do that today, like you'd get like thrown to the wolves. Like it would be like that. And they did not like him. Because he and by they I mean like the Jewish folks of the times, they didn't like it. The Pharisees hated him. All of them hated him because he wasn't dainty and fluffy and
because it was a threat.
Everybody loves me, and that's again more
irony.
He was a bad dude with a whip when he cleared out the temple. Can you imagine what the disciples? They kind of just I bet they just froze. Like, what's happening right now? As they're watching him thrash and turn
poor
over
Peter
tables.
is over there like, dude, I wish you would have told me. I got like 18 whips that I've been making in my spare time.
Dude, I got a sword.
Yeah, I got a sword. I would have loved to,
Yeah,
but also, why didn't sell your cloak and buy a sword?
Great party.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
And, I wish I could have been there. I wish I could just hear the tone and ferocity in Jesus' voice when he would cast out an evil spirit, cast a demon out of someone. Yeah. When you talk about the Son of God casting out, a devil.
Yeah.
What did that sound like?
It probably sounded like Dad when he was mad at us.
I mean, talk about thunder. Yeah.
Like that's the full force of the full godhood of God, just powering through that. Like that's like
of the
that's
one
intense.
true God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. So all that to say that like you want to know what Christian masculinity is, we'll look to Jesus, because that was the capstone of what the example is that we should be, very much for all Christians. But I mean, the subject here is Christian masculinity. And so, it's not a dainty, it's not a fluffy, it's not everything's butterflies and rainbows. It is a gritty, it is a bloody, it is a nasty, hard fight. And you have to get ready to get down into the mud and go get those people out, the fishers of men. Fishing is not easy. I don't know, especially the old fishing where you're casting those like 50-pound nets out.
Nets.
And pulling them in, like that's hard. Like that takes work.
Yeah. And fishermen were the dock workers of the, the first century. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, that I think, and that just comes down to a lot of, doctrine, right? Like, are you really preaching it how the Bible tells it? Because a lot of people these days, they love to look at the love thy neighbor and, be good to one another and peace.
Turn the other cheek.
Yeah, turn the other cheek. And it's like that is good. Yes, that's there. But you have to bring the hard stuff too. You have to be able to put your foot down on things that, especially today, you are not going to make people happy with saying.
That's okay, because happiness is not the most important thing.
Exactly. That's right. And I almost wrote my typewriter one up on this, but he says turn the other cheek. And he's talking about insults.
Yeah.
But if we take that into the physical realm, maybe you turn the other cheek. But for a Christian man, that's turning your cheek. That's not forcing the people who are under your protection to turn theirs.
Right. Yeah.
There is an element of responsibility. That comes with.
And our primary goal as men is to be protected.
That's primary base level. Got to do that.
Yeah.
Or don't call yourself a man. Personally,
there we go. See,
but anyway, I can.
And even for that, there's a certain element to spiritually. Like it all comes down to like really figuring out. Again, what's worth fighting for. So for like an example I could give is if someone comes up to me and they're like, you have a giant forehead or something. Well, I could get mad and I could be like, dude, I'm going to knock you out. But obviously, turn the other cheek. Great. However, if someone were to come up to me and say, I think that your God is a failure, and I think that it's not real, and that he's stupid. It's moments like those where you got to kind of be like, you need to be careful. Like you can talk about me all you want. You go ahead. You want to talk about my forehead? Bring it. I can take it. But you do not talk about my God. And mostly it's because you take that love that Jesus had, and you're like, you need to be careful. Like you don't be saying things like that, because that's how you get yourself in trouble. I'm fine, but now you've made the situation something where I have to help you, because if you don't watch yourself in this moment, you could end up bringing a very harsh consequence upon you.
You get a cosmic spanking.
Right, and that's a whole other conversation, really, about like how to present the word carefully. But I think that and it kind of goes back to the price of salvation. It's like this is the middle of the straight narrow way to try and get people and present people an idea and a belief and a story that's just good generally all the way around. And whatever you make of it, you make of it.